Welcome back to Rubbin Minds. I still have with me social commentator Azeez Quadry and Quadry a TV personality. And in the spirit of International Youth Day, I mean, what can the youth do in terms of going from online hashtags to actually engaging in the political process? And a lot of us know that voter registration has been the main thing everyone has been speaking about, with only a few days to get the PVC. But what can the youth really do?
For me, the youth need to understand that they actually have the power to decide an election. They need to understand that they have the power to rally behind a sensible candidate, rally behind a candidate that will leave no man, no woman or child behind, and actually determine the outcome of election. But for me, I feel like the youths don't have all the information they need. For instance, when I found out that recently, in the past 3 months, Nigeria has become the poverty capital of the world. There are 87 million people in Nigeria living in absolute poverty. And for you to be, and for someone to be classed as living in absolute poverty, it means they're living on about $2 a day. That's 600 naira. The country that held that statistic before was India. India have about 74 million people living in absolute poverty. However, India are 10 times what Nigeria are. So for me, I feel like the youths need not just the facts of, if elected president, I will put 23% into education, I'll put 30% into healthcare. No, understand the facts of what is going on. Understand the fact that 20 years next year will be, 20 years next year
democracy.
Of democracy.
So would you say that the media has a huge role to play in educating the youth about the power they hold to actually elect the kind of leaders they want into government?
Very true. I mean, in mass communication 101, we're taught that, the media is the fourth estate of the realm. Yes. Now, it is essentially supposed to play a very important role. I recall also growing up in Nigeria, I read, magazines that were very critical of the military junta then, and it was fact-based, it was evidence-based and the likes. But unfortunately today you have the brown envelope culture. Why? Because people are basically struggling to survive. The average media personality wants to pay the school fees of his or her children, pay house rent and the rest of them. So people have thrown integrity out of the back door. Now what we must do is understand that those who suffer whatever result of failed leadership are the young people of Nigeria. Look at the population. Over 60% are 30 and below. If we do a summation, I think 198 million people, 110 million Nigerians are 30 years and below. Now, if we understand that whatever factors are arising from failed leadership, we suffer it the most, then we should be spurred and motivated to rise up and act. And that is the very essence of being the youth, so that we don't end up as a useless generation where you grow old and your children, who are really very intelligent, because the children that are bringing forth these days are really very intelligent, they'll look at you and ask you, what exactly did you do when you had the opportunity? So
very quickly, one would say that in the past, it was the elders that actually held positions of power. So how can we have that intergenerational debate between the old and the new, the old and the young, to actually be able to enhance our democracy?
I think we've started to a very small extent with the Not Too Young to Run bill. However, for me, there has to be younger people in the Senate. The Senate arm of government is the arm that's supposed to be fiery. It's the arm that's supposed to keep the president in check for absolutely everything. It's the arm that's supposed to, bring about laws and make sure these laws are put into process. And for me, the people, or the caliber of people in the Senate at the moment, they don't understand the youth. They're too old to understand what this country needs, how to move this country forward innovatively, how to move this country forward socially, digitally. I think there needs to be more young people in government. And like
more young people in power. Thank you so much, Azeez Quadry, and thank you so much, Quadry a for joining us on Rubbin Minds. And we have just a few days to the end of PVC registration. Do you have your PVC? Remember, INEC will not count rants, prayers, or tweets, but votes only. Please stay with us as the program returns after this quick break.